This is an Australian Living Labs Innovation Network presentation. Today we're talking with Juan Antonio Bertolin.
That's great. So how does it fit inside the European ecosystem, in particular with, for example, um, science parks and and other kind of forms of innovation settings that are already there?
It's interesting because when we started with Living Labs in 2010, before joining ENOL, the European Network of Living Labs, we are acting as a science and technology partners, as I told you before. So we are inside of a campus of the university, and we are helping SMEs and startups and entrepreneurs to develop their dreams and also to try to grow in this very competitive market, right? But in some point of time, we discovered the concept of Living Lab, and we were looking at inside of the campus. Imagine that the university is 15,000 citizens, small city. So it's not, if you can see the campus as a place where 15,000 very brave people, smart people that are able to develop very interesting things with huge creativity. If you can combine the feedback that they can provide and also the involvement in different, let's say, innovation developments, and you connect that with the SMEs and also with the researcher groups, you are creating a very, very powerful environment. So what we started to think is that, okay, if we are close to a small city, like a university, with all the campus, and we try to connect all the elements, and the science park is leading that process, you are creating what we are calling the smart campus, and where all the technologies can be developed in a very small scale, and then can be, let's say, could be scalable to the city, to become into a smart city or a smart province or a smart region, right? But you have a very smart people that wants to deal with that. And this is the difference. It's a very good tandem. It's the best complement for a science park to have a Living Labs connected. Now, a lot of science parks are involved in the Living Labs paradigm inside of their strategies.
So they complement each other very well. So when you're talking to, say, stakeholders in the science park, so maybe existing businesses or government, how do you just sort of describe the Living Lab and how it will change their interaction?
Yeah, well, it did one of the big challenges is when you are using different concepts, and even though for us Living Labs is very usual, to explain them which are the benefits of participating in a Living Lab. And in that point of time, at the beginning, they are a little bit scared or reluctant to do that because say, well, I don't know which will be the benefits of a Living Lab in my business. But when you are explaining them that the user will help you to develop the best product for them, so the impact in the market could increase the guarantees of success, they start to think about it the other way around. And this is why now we are trying to develop some sort of strategy to, let's say, foster or encourage, better say, to SMEs to use the Living Labs to develop their products, because usually they do that inside of the laboratories or their offices without the involvement of the citizen. And then they are complaining that whenever they jump into the market, probably the impact in the market is very small. And they say, how come it's possible? I mean, I am selling few products because the people they don't understand. And probably it's because you have not involved them into the process, right? So one of the things that we try to do is try to involve the people that will buy your product, that will buy your service, and also the people that you are solving the problems for them. That is a society, that is, in the last term.
It's really interesting that you say it, because I think the concept is still developing and being understood in Australia, and so we're very much at that stage of we say a Living Lab and can get lost in some of the detail of definitions and things, and it's sort of nice to hear, well, this is what it does, for small businesses or for government and so on. I'm wondering from a government stakeholder perspective how their interaction maybe has been with the Living Lab.
Yeah, well, one of the key, of the spheres of the quadruple helix is the government stakeholders. Indeed, what we ran in 2010, our Living Labs, we got close to 1 million euros from the Ministry of Science and Technology from Spain, and now it's a different ministry. They changed the name. And we were able to, let's say, present our project that was containing 16 projects from SMEs, students, and researchers, where they tried to use the co-creation process, and they were very happy because they provided almost 100% of the funding in a 70-30%. 30% of credits only from the total 30%. So university is sustaining that several projects, and the government was very eager to see that how we can improve that, even though you know that you are talking about innovation, experimental innovation, so not all the projects could be success at the end. Indeed, from the 16, only 3 were success. The rest of them, once failed, the company closed. So we have different problems during the process, during the 3 or 4 years of process, and now only 2 or 3 are actually up and running. But it's normal, because what we are trying during the experimental innovation is to learn, right? And is as we call also the innovation public buying, where the administration try to buy the last technology that has not been commercialized yet, and is a risk. But it's the way that we need to go further if we want to innovate.
That's great, thank you. Do you see as the future for Living Labs?
Well, this is a strong effort that we are doing from the European Network of Living Labs to demonstrate the community that Living Labs is one of the best, to avoid saying the best way to develop innovation from the social and technology perspective, because everybody is involved in that process. So the future for us is very promising, because indeed in only 10 years of the life cycle of the European Network of Living Labs, we are already inside of the main European Commission strategies from the innovation and science perspective, because we have been able to demonstrate them, because we are close to 400 Living Labs connected with the network around the world. That is a very good way to do that things in order to develop innovation involving society. So society, science, technology, companies. So this is a very good instrument to develop innovation, and the European Commission has been understood that. So for us is a way to say that, yeah, this is the one of the key elements for fostering the involvement of the society to build the best future for them. It's not a matter only of selling stuff, it's involving the society to create a better future for all of us.
And so how do you think Living Labs will develop over the next 5 or so years?
Well, it's difficult because time is running very fast. But I would say that in less than 10 years, Living Labs will be the basics for developing innovation, at least because most of the big companies and also big institutions are understanding that Living Labs paradigm is one of the things that they need to put all the let's say all the resources on it in order to improve the development of the first world, I would say, and even more in the third world, because you are involving also people to improve their quality of life. So I think that if just in 10 years we have been able to achieve the position inside of the European strategy and also in worldwide, because a lot of new Living Labs are coming up in Canada, in the USA, and also Latin America, in Asia. So we expect that Living Labs will be the way to do the things. And I don't know until what extent, but these phenomena of rural labs, of urban labs, of fab labs are demonstrating more and more that involvement of people of doing innovation is critical. not only by one person or one entity. I mean, it's involving all the agents of the ecosystem, the participation of all of them. So, well, now probably is still unknown in some areas, even though the name is starting to be very, let's say, sounds a lot of times. I expect that at least in 10 years will be the common way to develop open innovation.
That's tremendous. And I'm wondering as well whether you've got any experience of international collaboration between different your lab and other living labs?
Yes, indeed. One of the key points in this sense is to connect with others and try to share experiences, and also in some point of time even exchange users. Because if I am developing something here in Spain in our living labs, and I would need the feedback or at least the involvement of Australian users, I can send you or share with you the solution and try to make that happen in a cross-country collaborations. And here the international collaborations are critical, because actually the society is worldwide. It's not just in one country. And sometimes a solution could be even improved thanks to the feedback from other places, or involvement or engagement from other parts of the world, in order to create a better product for all of them.
And are there any specific kind of areas of collaboration you're looking for at the moment?
No, not at all, because indeed I am open to all the collaborations. So every potential opportunity that we can have in order to run, I am open to that. It's a matter of sitting down and analyze the best and the cross elements that we could have. So I am not focusing in any specific place. So I am open to every part of the world.
Okay.